Good morning, everyone. Another interview, another episode here in the Nemesis metaverse, this time with the photographer and artist Paulo Renftle. Thank you so much for joining us, Paulo.
Thank you much. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you.
My pleasure. So, how did you start with NFT?
In 2021, it was summer 2021. I've been asked from the Lamborghini family to create images of the Lamborghini Miura from Ferruccio Lamborghini Miura and other pieces from the museum, and to convert them in NFTs. So we created some cinemagraphs, which are animated images from photographic images, and we created a collection and sold out immediately. I think in 2 hours it was sold out. It was like 7 pieces plus 2 of my personal creation, which were crazier editions of the Miura.
Okay, so we're pictures of the car, right?
Of cars and helicopters and other masterpiece of the museum, of course, or from Ferruccio's Lamborghini's museum.
I remember you told me this story. It was quite complicated to take
Yeah.
pictures of these cars.
Yes, because we could not move the cars and the pieces, of course, like helicopters from the museum. So I decided to shoot them in complete darkness in the museum and using like light painting techniques. So it was quite risky because actually shooting in the museum in complete darkness in the night, you could be get by some thief that want to steal the cars, and you can be, you're without any power if someone come with a gun and say, give me the cars, and you have, responsibility of also of the pieces of the museum. So it was like quite scary. So any strange noise we hear was like, me and my assistant were like, okay, what are we doing now? So sometimes the police was kept passing by to check that everything was okay. So we were quite safe anyway.
Yeah, funny. And now what are you working on? I know you are dropping NFTs on a few platforms.
Yes, mainly on Super Rare and what I've created, and of course Super Rare and Nympha. I created last summer 3 series of images. The first is done in black and white with a film camera. It's a Hasselblad film camera from 1971. And the other with an underwater camera, always on film. So I want to prove to myself and to prove that I could capture wonderful images in a simple technique, photographic technique, without post-production, without anything, but create some magic images. And then I push myself even further with laser, and I created a series that now is on Super Rare, and is always pure photography, always shot with Hasselblad, but this time in digital. And they are all nudes images of beautiful women shot between Taormina underwater, of course, and in this new dimension, which is you will see on Super Rare, of course. And I'm slowly dropping one image by one, and that's represent my vision of beauty in a new dimension, maybe in a afterlife dimension.
Nice. And I always like to talk also about your career, the artist career before NFTs. So can you tell us more about your career as a photographer before NFTs?
Of course, I've been shooting now, it's my 20 years of anniversary of photography. I started where I was really, really young, when I was 10, shooting Polaroids. Of course, as any kid could be surprised to see the image developed from the film and the magic of capturing the time. I then started using some reflex of my parents, the reflex camera, of course. And then I've been lucky enough to have many friends photographers in the family, which helped me out to study and understand photography. Then I started assisting And at the age of 20, I started my own career, and I shoot in Bali many times. I've been in Bali 15 times, and shooting, of course, commercials. And then I come in Italy and start publishing for many magazines. And from fashion, like commercials, I moved to supercars and luxury watches, which are my three passions: the feminine beauty, the supercars, and the super luxury watches. So that's,
And
that's
what
a
are
bit.
your, sorry, um, what are your highlights of your career between, before NFTs, but also with
Well,
NFTs?
I I don't know. Every year is like crazy because I've been always working with very important and prestigious brand from Hublot, McLaren, Mercedes, Porsche. So I can say that's the one real specific highlights. I know that now creating NFTs and with my pure vision, without fashion, removing everything and just creating something for my heart. I think this is the highlights after 20 years. So I think what I'm doing now is just to leave a sign, a signature on the photography history, I hope, with this series of images that I'm creating that are, I think they are new. So I think now is the moment for the highlight. Let's see.
So, so you think NFTs change your style or your career in a certain way?
Kind of, because I of course, there are all the experience that I had in my life brought me to the NFT world, of course, and I've been into the NFT thanks to the Lamborghini work. So you know, uh, but NFTs are a new kind uh, of course, we know the technology about NFTs, but for me, it's just like kind of new material where you can move your art into something like a new kind of developing, not just printing, on paper, but uh, even for distributing the art in a different way, and to connect with the collector in a totally different manner, of course. And I love also to be able to sign with my own wallet, of course, with a signature, those picture, and that will be imprinted in this blockchain, and that will be there forever, saying that I've done this picture, that date, and everything is meaning and is immutable, right? So of course that's changed, and so I thought, okay, let's do something new and prepare a project for that medium. That's the correct word for new medium. So not just like paper or so blockchain, the new medium. What do you think?
A question we always receive from our users, from Nemesis public and so on, it's what are the tools you use as an artist? So in this case, you mentioned some reflex, some cameras, but also what do you use, for example, for post production or to create NFTs in general?
Of course. Well, I've been always using Hasselblad camera because of the kind of camera, the sensor, and the images they produce. Of course, the leaf shutter inside the lenses, and many other specific technology of that camera. And I use, of course, beautiful lights from main brands, but accessible to anyone from the shop. Post production, of course, I use Photoshop, but I could use, like, as they were doing like in 50 years ago, like a small brush and touch by little points, because I'm not using that much Photoshop for my commercial picture, or because I think it's, everything should be done in camera, and that's why I wanted to capture the picture on film to make them unique as is, just outside the camera, because nowadays they're too much post-production. Sometimes it's beautiful, of course, if you want to produce some special effects, but I want to capture, even for those images I'm creating with the laser lights, I want them to be pure photography. And that's, for me, is something important, because I know that I could shoot the same images with a time machine like 50 years ago, or in the future, without any other tools, but just film and paper, sensitive paper.
And what are your goals for the next future? What are you working on? What are your objectives for the future?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I already told you about my portrait series to the artist, which is like a long series, because I'm capturing in black and white all the artists that I consider to be relevant in this field, in NFT fields, and I'm slowly adding also collectors and mecenates of this century, of this time, to be in this series of portraits. And then I want to continue to create new images. I'm starting to build up new ideas, and I'm quite crazy, but I also have commercial work, so I'm dividing my time between this passion to create something new in photography, which is really challenging, because nowadays we have already seen anything. But that's it. Try to challenge myself, for sure, and create more beautiful images to be even exhibitions, of course, that I'm planning, and the book that I will be out next year. So from the first collection in black and white that I showed in Taormina, of course. So there are many few things that
Projects.
I need to project I need to bring along.
Thank you so much, Paolo, for this interview, for your time, and thank you everybody who's watching this interview as well. And good luck for all your projects.
Thank you so much, Amelia. Bye.